in Washington, we're in a room where, where some of these very people are kind of involved in regulation. I'm curious what you think about the role of regulation in terms of how it can accelerate or also hinder innovation, and how you've seen some of those play out in your own work. Yeah.
I'm happy to go first if you want. I mean, so no, I mean, honestly, I think my approach to that is actually maybe somewhat counterintuitive, because the usual canned answer is, of course, how it hinders innovation and stifles it. I actually think that, and I don't believe this is an oxymoron, but innovation appropriately done can actually facilitate innovation. And the reason I say that is that if it can actually articulate sort of clear and consistent goal lines, level the playing field, and actually effectively facilitate the innovation by protecting the innovator, then I think that then I think it actually both facilitates value creation as well, and the innovation behind it. And just, I mean, to give you one very specific example, if I may, of where I believe that is, if you take a look and you just compare as an example sort of the situation that we have in diagnostics with this very old discussion about LDTs and how they're overseen, and you compare that to the situation we have with drugs. I mean, the situation we have with diagnostics and the reimbursement and the value creation there is very different, I think, and no one would argue, than it is for drugs. And part of the reason for that is that what we basically do is allow generic diagnostics, or the equivalent of a generic drug, to come out on the market basically at the same time or even before a branded drug, and then claim whatever it wants. You can clearly see how that kind of unlevel playing field really makes for a situation where the innovator who goes through the process, develops rigorous evidence, doesn't get rewarded. There's no incentive to do that. And on top of that, because of intellectual property and everything, they're not well protected even if they do that. So I think that regulation properly done can actually facilitate innovation and create wealth.
Yeah, I'll field that real quickly as well. I think I actually have a great deal of admiration for the regulators, because they have to see brand new technologies and make an assessment about how do you regulate something to be safe and effective in a very small amount of time. They come in, and you come in and you're an expert at your field, and they have to basically try to figure out how to become a 30-minute expert in your field. I think no one disagrees that as we introduce new technologies that they should be safe, they should do what they're supposed to do, and they should be effective. And I don't think anyone disagrees about those things. And I think properly done, regulation can be a great accelerant for innovation, that it helps level the playing field and helps prevent people from dirtying the water so that great technologies can emerge.
And with this convergence now, we have digiceuticals. We can prescribe apps for behavior change, et cetera. And we did some work. We had the FDA head of digital health come out to exponential medicine. We've done workshops. And now they've launched a sort of software as a medical device element to speed up regulation of drugs, devices, and elements that cross the digital and therapeutic divide. And now a pre-check system, kind of trying to speed up and get the regulators to get onto the exponential train to some degree.
Yeah, I think two things I'd like to bring up. The first one, of course, is the primary directive is patient safety. Right, that's why the FDA is there, is patient safety, and that's what we want. I mean, that's really the most important thing. But the other thing is, as these innovations start to, progress through the cycle of the medical healthcare system, we need to make sure that the regulations are actually up to date, and that they actually address the new technologies. And that is where new regulations that will be specific to the new technologies will be important. It's not so much that the regulations are bad, they're not, they're actually quite good, but how can you improve them based on the new technologies?